The enemy always wants you to believe that you are going through your pain alone, that you're going through your hurt alone, and that nobody understands what it is that you're going through. I know this quite too familiar, because growing up I thought God was far from me. I thought He had forgotten me, because the one person who brought me to church was the same person who told me that I was never wanted. It was hard to believe that a loving Father loved me when I felt like my own mother didn't love me. I didn't understand how God was loving when I didn't feel that love in the home. Growing up Catholic, I thought I knew God, but I thought He was far from me because I didn't understand Jesus and I didn't understand how to have a relationship with Him. I thought I had to do things on my own because I was constantly told how stupid, fat, and ignorant I was. I didn't see any love. And quite honestly, it hurt so much to the point that I started to self-harm myself. I began cutting myself and treating my body wrong. I began smoking cigarettes when I was 11, started drinking alcohol when I was 13, and I would agree with thoughts of suicide because I thought maybe they would show me they loved me then if I were gone. But you see, that was the scheme of the enemy. He doesn't want you to know that you are loved by God. And since God never really answered my prayer in putting me miraculously into a new family, I thought He was far from me. I didn't think He heard my prayers. So I began to forget about God. And it took me at least 10 more years to find out that He really does love me. You see, at the age of 22, I was asked to try hard drugs for the first time, and I saw no reason not to. I said, why not? They already see me as this person, and it consumed my life for 3 years. And for those 3 years, it was a false protection, because for once in my life, I felt no pain, no worry, no shame. I simply just did not care about life. But you see, I was suppressing my emotions, and I was self-protecting my own self, not knowing that I was causing walls between me and God, and ultimately other people, damaging multiple relationships. And so, it was in an overdose state that I cried out to the Lord and I asked Him to deliver me from my drugs. And that morning He did. And then I saw signs of Las Vegas and I said, God, if this is from You, I won't get a flat tire. And I drove from Michigan to Las Vegas in 5 days and I did not get a flat tire. And I said, okay, God, I guess You want me to be here, so I'm going to stay. And it took about 6 months before I went to church at Central Christian Church. I went there at 8 o'clock in the morning one morning because my roommates were doing drugs in the living room, and I asked myself, where won't the devil go? And I decided that it was at church that maybe the devil wouldn't go, and I received prayer there. And from there, I continuously went to that church, and I got baptized 6 months later. And I enrolled at school at Lincoln Christian University, and I received my Christian ministry degree last year, and I'm currently in the Marriage and Family and Therapist program for my master's. You see, God, He's constantly doing something new. He constantly wants to let us know that change is possible, that we don't have to stay that old creature. We don't have to stay that old person. We don't have to have those old identities on us any longer. One of the verses that stuck with me was Matthew 6:33, that to seek God with your full heart and all of His righteousness and everything else would be added onto you. I already knew that a day had a trouble in its own, so I wasn't doing so much that I couldn't handle. I needed God to come into my life because I knew I couldn't do life on my own. I knew that I did everything my way, and it led me to the bottom of the pit. It led me in drugs and addiction. It led me in anger and bitterness. It led me to despair. It led me to broken relationships. I was sick and tired of doing things for the enemy, and I needed to do something for myself. I needed to see if God was real, and I needed to see if change was possible. And God, He's constantly making something new. And today He wants to make a new heart in you that if you are ready, just have an expectancy that He is able and capable. For God does not run out of His supply, that He is more and sufficient enough in His grace, and He is not a favorite of persons. He will give you everything that you need. So just believe in Him, because He is real and He is alive and He is working in your heart today. God bless.